Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on In Review, where we look at some of the top news. Well, news, top news. Every news is top news these last days, and I'm trying to say, um, so much is in the news this week. It's 21st of the 4th, 2022. Thanks for those joining me on Instagram. Thanks for those joining on Facebook as well. I want to thank you so much for joining. And as usual, your contribution is always helpful. Um, T. Brown and Marlon Barkley. Uh, as you know, the Queen is now, 96? Nice celebration for her as well. We're looking forward to some nice street parties coming up very soon in June. May the 5th, elections. And with that election, we're going to see if it's going to be a referendum on Boris Johnson. Most importantly, Boris Johnson to be investigated. Um, and one of the interesting topic tonight is that the Russian president, and this is what he said. He said, "Block it so a flight can't pass." This guy is serious, I'm trying to say. But without further ado, let me just bring in Garry. Um, how are you, sir, Garry? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Sylbourne, it's good to be again a part of the Sylbourne CDL show.
Yes, yes, yes,
SSTV.
yes. Yes. It's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, as well. I tell you what, there's so much which is going on out there in the world today. We sometimes every week when we have the show, we find that we keep laboring on certain topics more. There's a period where we were laboring a lot on COVID. There's a period where we were laboring a lot on Brexit, and now we seem to be laboring a lot. And the things that we keep interesting. This is so interesting, Garry. You laugh at this one. We labored on COVID, but we all wanted COVID to go. Yes, we labored on Brexit, and we all wanted Brexit to end for it to finish. And we find ourselves laboring on Boris.
He has to go, man. I'm telling you this.
So for the past couple months or so, my topic keep changing each time. Should he stay or should he go? And and today the topic is still there again, whereby we have to start by saying Boris to be investigated based on the recent fines. I know, Garry, you got your position, and we have been there already. And I think I can just use a previous tape from a previous show, and if I press the button, it will be still saying the same thing. So you can go ahead and say it.
Boris has to go, man. Boris has to go. I mean,
Mm,
he's going to get Conservative Party out of government. If it will not be elected again in the next general election. Um, my fear, and I think what is there, Silborn, if you can help me with this one, it would be great. But I don't see anyone that could probably replace him right now.
mm,
I don't see anybody of any stature, anybody of any stature. Now, it would be unfair. It would be very unfair to make comparisons of the leadership of the 90s, early 90s, of the 80s, of the 70s, of the 60s. It would be unfair. So I'm not going to. I'll try not to do that. But
yes.
there isn't any leadership really that is there, and the leadership within the Labour Party, that is the second major or a major contender. Keir Starmer, nice guy. Don't have a
Yeah.
problem with him. I don't know him anyway. He knows nothing of a Gary Graham, but
Yes.
he doesn't really offer any as a political opponent. I don't think there's any strength of leadership as much as what Tony Blair had. I don't
Yeah.
think so. It's not there. So it's a bit concerning at this time to know um, what's going to happen. There will be contenders that will come out and say that they are willing and they are able to lead the Conservative Party, but I
Yes.
doubt, I really doubt that they would have the strength that is really necessary.
Mm. Well,
So,
well, okay. Before I give my two pence on that one, but ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister, as you're aware, is after the party gate, different parties which were held during the COVID period, and the times when many people were actually asked to stay home or directed or ordered to stay home, actually to be against the law if you had parties and all those different things. The Prime Minister, it is deemed now to may and deemed to be a misled Parliament, and today there was a vote in Parliament whereby they are going to investigate him. So he will be investigated by a Commons committee over claims he misled Parliament about parties in Downing Street during lockdown. The MPs approved the privilege committee launching an inquiry once the police have finished their own investigation into the gathering. The government had tried to delay the vote but made a U turn following opposition from its own MPs. You see, Gary, and ladies and gentlemen, what is really happening now is that it's interesting that there's a U turn for this investigation. And I sense that there is opposition from within the camp, which is what they actually said. The thing is, how long can the prime minister keep saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? Every week is, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. While the prime minister may have been doing a great job after COVID and even the Ukraine thing and going there like Churchill, but we all know what happens in politics whereby a ministry is overshadowed by issues of sleaze, issues that brought into question the leadership of that ministry. And normally the prime minister always say, I have good confidence in my minister. I have confidence in my minister. And then 2 days after, the minister resigned and said, I need to spend time with my family. And normally, because the one issue has drawn into question the credibility of the minister, and it overshadows the ministry and the work. So, based on what I'm seeing now, and I think many people are seeing now, is that this is going on a bit too long now. And maybe it is time that the prime minister go, because it will always be there, Gary. And it always will be a distraction. That's the thing. A fundamental distraction, you know?
I
And
know. I
mm,
mean, Mr. Boris Johnson should employ you as his troubleshooter for protecting him. You know, 'cause you do try your best with him. You do try your best to protect him. I know you love him. You know, I don't hate him.
well, it's not loving, but I always have this thing about resignation, resignation, resignation. I always believe that people should say it sometimes to clean up the mess that they do at times. But when it comes to a point where it is totally overshadowing the work of a ministry, the work, and that it will always be there. And even if he gets away by the Sue Grayling report and the police or whatever like that, it will still be there, Gary. They'll be gunning for him. And therefore, we will totally miss out on some of the fundamental things which are happening now in this country, which is the high rate of inflation, the council tax, the energy crisis, the prepayment meter. Nobody is really at this time galvanizing around that. And what is going to happen now if the prime minister go or when he goes or whatever, there's going to be another period of time for this is what's going to happen, period of time for them to have an election, internal election to vote for a new party leader. And then Gary, after that, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The opposition is going to say, you don't have a mandate, call an election. That's what always happens, you know?
Well, I mean, you see, Boris has caused this on himself.
Mm,
Boris has caused this on himself, and yes, he has always wanted to be prime minister, and he is prime minister. He won it. He's got a very large majority there. But you
Yes.
see, just like every other prime minister that has ever come onto the scene over the many years, why is it taking so long, and why is it so hard for him to step down? He needs to
Yeah.
step down. There's been better men. Put it this way: better men, and even when they had the slightest speck of dishonesty, and it may not even have even required them to step down. But what did they do? They stepped down.
Yes.
They stepped down. Now, the longer Boris stays there, is the more damage he's going to do to the party, and it's the more
Mm.
damage he's going to do to the country. And he needs to realize that. He needs to realize that. With him jetting off to India now, what is he going there to do? I mean, what is it that he hopes really to do that's going to save his premiership? There is nothing else.
So
There's
do you think that trip was like a saving grace trip? All of these trips are like some saving grace trip. The one for Ukraine, this one for India.
Well, I mean, what saving grace?
I mean to say it's like a distraction.
No, no. It's not distracting it. It's not taking it. It's just highlighting. I think his what's the word? I think it's just highlighting his. It may be a bit harsh. His buffoonery. I mean, you can only run and run for so long, but it. You come back, it's going to be here.
It's gonna be
These
there.
people, these people ain't letting this go,
They're not
and
letting it go.
no, and especially I was listening to a news item this afternoon on Channel 5
Yes.
at 5, and there was a lady, I can't remember her name because I don't really listen to 5, but it so happens that it was on, and I heard it, and she was expressing that the unique thing about this one is that it's the whole party now. It's even his front benchers now, not only the back benchers, but it's the front benchers now that has, it would seem, to be joined forces to say an investigation needs to be had.
Yes.
Now, what is the investigation going to bring? What is it going to um to expose?
To expose,
What is it going to expose? It's going to expose the very same thing
which we know already.
which we know already. He's only buying time. That's only this thing is happening. That's all that's happening, really. And so he needs, for the sake of the country, one, for the sake of the party, two, he needs to step down and move away. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah. So therefore, the you mentioned about who would be an alternative or a leader in waiting, and I think a few weeks ago we all zoned in on Dominic Raab.
Right.
Dominic Raab, we zone in on as a potential person. I've been watching him at the same time. Rishi Sunak is tainted now based on his wife and the non-dumb things. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Dominic Raab may be the way forward. But listen, I'm of the view, and I think most people are of the view now, and unless you're flogging a dead horse, that it is time now for the motion be picked up. And if I'm to advise the Conservative Party, I would say the earlier the better to get someone in place after the elections. And I guess the election, as a matter of fact, the elections coming up will be a determinant, will be a marker. And then after the election, get someone in and get them groomed and ready for the next general election. Because if Boris said today that he's going to fight the next election, and I believe that would be a mistake, if anything, to fight the next election, because it would be all will be on the leaflets will be sleaze, 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 sleaze. You know, perception is a powerful thing, Gary, as you know. Perception is even stronger than facts.
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
they could put facts in there.
you said it. It would be a mistake to run to fight the next election. It's going to be a mistake to remain in 10 Downing Street.
Mm.
You know, Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles.
Can
They
see.
both can see. They can see that it's a mistake to stay in government now. To stay, he's
I,
got.
I, I was trying to find my shades to say even Stevie Wonder can see to sort of give some sort of demonstration toward this guy, you know. Yeah.
I
But
think that when it comes to um you mentioned Dominic Raab and Sunak. Now, I mean, the two of them have been tainted. The two of them. One, Dominic Raab was because he was on holiday and he was out there instead of being here. So he's
yeah.
got that, even though that was a little way off. The most recent one is Sunak, which again, okay, fine. I mean, if they want to make a song and a dance about
Mm.
him or his wife, sorry, then that's another
Yeah.
thing. However, um, I don't know, and it could be a very controversial thing. And I
Yes.
did say it last week. I don't know if the Conservative Party, even up until now, will allow a nation to head the party. I'm not too sure. I don't. I and people can always say, well, Barack Obama, the Democratic Party in America or America and all was not ready for a black man. That's one thing. That's
Mm.
one thing. Now, is England, is the United Kingdom ready for an Asian to be the head of a party? Never mind um, prime minister. I don't
Yeah.
think. I
Yeah.
think. I think people, and we've got to be serious when we talk about these things. Some people don't
Mm.
like to mention it because they think, well, oh, you're a racist or you're this or you're that. Well, that's not the point.
Yes.
If the point is that we've got to hit these things on the head by highlighting and making people see and know that we know what's going on in this country. Now,
Yes.
now we know that Dominic Raab, if it was the two of them, Dominic Raab would be the front runner. We
Yeah.
know that,
He's the deputy prime minister at this
and he's
present
the
moment.
deputy prime minister anyway. And I
Mm.
think, look at it like this: I think that he was put there because he's the preferred candidate. I believe that.
So you think there's a ceremonial crowning at the same time, indirectly possible?
Listen, if the party turns its back on Boris, just like that, they've got somebody there who
In place.
is in place, because the deputy prime minister is just a ceremonial post, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it's
it's
ceremonial. But if you remember, Prescott was deputy.
Michael
Gordon
Hess,
Brown,
right?
Gordon Brown was the chancellor, but there was a deal made with Gordon Brown and Tony Blair from long time as well. You know,
Right.
I must point out Michelle Clark is here. Hi, Michelle. And Gary, you need to say something there. Michelle is there.
Hi, Michelle. How you doing? It's good to see you. Glad for you to be showing up. I must apologize. I mustn't allow Sylbourne to prompt me, to push me to say hi. But it's good to
Hey,
it's good
Michelle, bless you.
to
I think in the states though that they're on a threshold now whereby there's no more mask over there, and I think the government is challenging the judge, and but I think there's some difficulties there because the president shaking hands with people who are not there. I don't know if you saw the president trying to shake his hand with some duppy. Sorry to say, he turned around. He turned around. I'm not laughing. Am I laughing? I'm not laughing. He turned around to shake hands. He was
the
almost shaking hands with somebody. Mitchell can confirm that. He turned around to shake hands with and nobody was there. And he was like, and then the last time he was with Barack Obama was there, and you would think that Barack Obama was the president, and he was like spinning around trying to get. Nobody was paying attention to him, that those are times you want something to drop in there. But listen, I want to go quickly onto Putin. Because Putin said something today, and he was having a conversation with one of his guys, and he said he's not going to hit a particular place, and he said block it so a fly can't pass. Block it so a fly can't pass. And what Putin was dealing with right there is the Mariupol steelwork, where Putin ordered his troops to seal off Ukrainian defenders inside the besieged port city of Mariupol. And Putin told forces to abandon plans to storm the sprawling areas of those steelworks where Ukraine is still resisting the invaders. Um, you know, what's your where are we? This is over 50 something days now. This war. What's your take as to what's going on now? It's like getting a bit silly now.
I don't know. I am. There are several reports, whether it has been leaked or not. But there are several things that have been said, Sylbourne, that the that the West, NATO and the West, are pulling the strings behind
The scene.
Ukraine.
Mm,
They're doing something so that Ukraine, um, uh, holds out. And what they're doing is weakening Russia.
yes.
Um, there's several reports there. It's sad what's happening in Mariupol. It's sad. There are people. As it's been reported, there's over 1,000 people in the besieged steelworks
Yes.
that that are crying out to be saved. I would not like to see that steelwork be plummeted to smithereens. I
Yeah.
really would not like. And I'm praying, as a man of God, I'm praying that something miraculous happens so that these people either are saved by the heart of Putin, allowing them to escape or leave, or something miraculous happens and destroys the enemy.
Yeah.
At that place, because yes, it's well over a month now, well past a month, probably a month and a half now,
Yeah.
probably that. The war is going on. Something has to give. Something has to happen.
I think somehow, and I've heard a discussion that maybe the West or should somehow try to find a way to save face for Putin. And I think Putin, by making that discussion with his one of his generals there, by saying save them and he doesn't want the bloodshed or whatever like that, one could say there's a I can't say there's a heart because many people there's no heart for what he's doing. You know what I mean? But it is like you can see something maybe like there's a light whereby some change may happen because as I said, how Russian forces besieged Mariupol because on the 2nd of March, Russian forces advanced towards the port city. 17th of March, city surrounded, bombarded by Russian artillery. 4th of April, Russian troops moved to the center of the city. 20th of April, Russians encircle final pocket of Ukrainian resistance. And what this is actually saying is that you look back now and wonder, what is this really? What is this about? What is the purpose of this war? And it's somewhat getting a bit slightly ridiculous now. But just like how Boris, it is said that he need to go to sort of create some sort of shift. I still think Zelensky need to somewhat don't have to step down, but say, listen, but it's a bit too late now for Zelensky because they mash up in country. Like them say, got them mash up the place already. So therefore he has to go all the way now for them to mash it up totally. He should have actually, you know, I don't know, he should have actually stepped back a long time to save his people. I mean, look at over 5 to 10 million people they said have left Ukraine. Over you see the people coming out of that same place, Mariupol. The soldiers were actually saying that they are not with the civilians in order to ensure that the civilians are not bombed. And only a few of them came out of the Mariupol. I think Zelensky needs to step down.
Well, either way, I mean, whether Zelensky steps down or not,
Mm.
what desired effect are you wanting to see? I mean, if he steps down, who's going to take over? And do you want to see the Ukraine in the hands of Russia, or do you want to see it as an independent state?
Well, I think maybe I should qualify a bit about step down. Maybe not step down, but to work out some deal where he still remain in power, and agree so NATO will not be, well, in his lifetime or in his tenure. Maybe another person may come up eventually after and want to be with NATO. But that has been one of the key fundamental factors of being with NATO. Don't want to be with NATO. And I think something have to give because all these people leaving. I mean, Jamaica recent days, and I was just joking, where Jamaica government is actually saying this is what they said: they are running short of skilled constructive workers, construction workers, right? And they may have to resort to importing workers. So I said, these Middle Eastern people, they're very good construction wise. Maybe the prime minister needs to work on a deal and bring some Ukrainians to Jamaica
I
instead of
mean,
the Chinese.
well, I mean, are they willing? You see, again, in Jamaica, there are they willing to accept these guys? I mean, you've got a couple of gunmen there that will just kill them off. Just
Yes. I think I mean why just digress to Jamaica there briefly? It's just that it's so unfair for these persons to be leaving their country which they're building, and their livelihood. Young people, elderly people with their lifestyle, and they just have to leave the country. You know, it's like them saying if a Jamaican was the president of America, would have a world war every day and say, "Where Russia said, where Russia said, say it again, Russia, say it again, Russia, say it again, Russia, say, I go and mash up your country. You want see the button, see the button, see the button there." you know, I mean, we laugh at it, but it's a serious matter, man.
it
You
is
know,
a serious matter, and Zelensky, I believe, I think personally, I think he is a inspiring man.
I
He
would say that.
stood.
I would agree. I would agree.
Yes, he has stood. He has not run.
I would agree.
He has stayed in the capital. He has come out at times when the people need to see him. He's there for the people. So I think he is inspired his nation. You
Yeah.
know, a comedian who played in his satire as president of Ukraine, and then this desire to run when the real president, political president,
Mm.
um, resigned. He ran and won, and now he's in the middle of a war, and
Yes.
he's inspiring his Ukrainian brothers and sisters. I think he's brave, and he has been able to make decisions. That is leadership.
Yes. I
Leadership is that you make decisions. Now put Boris up against him. Different scenario, different community. I know in every way,
mm,
but if Boris was like him in that he had the strength of will to make decisions,
mm.
would we be in the situation we are in today in this country? Now, it may be very unfair to ask. It may be unfair, but I just want to put that in the mix because yes, Boris has made decisions, but
I
as
was
it,
gonna say, I was gonna say when you say decisions, is it a decision to step down? Is that what you're saying?
well, put it this way: a man, a man or a woman who is in a position of authority and they can sit down and say, I resign, or I'm stepping down, or I'm moving aside. That is great strength because
Mm,
not many people, not many men, not many women can
mm.
do that.
Yes, yes. So therefore, you're saying that Zelensky is an inspirational person that has inspired the world in the sense where many people are looking at this person and saying, "Hey, this is fantastic." Um, let me. I'm hearing an echo from you there, Taiwo. I don't know if you can
Okay. Let me switch the my
one two.
monitor to my headset.
It's not. It's
One
gone.
second. Sorry about
One
that.
second. We're not hearing it.
Let's do this.
Just before you come in, sir, I just want to say hi before
I switch
Sylbourne.
my monitor to
I just want to say
my.
hi to Deanne. Deanne's on Deanne's in the room. So hi Deanne. Hope you're well. Hope you're
Ga-
doing good.
Gary, we say in the house, okay? But if you say in the house, we'll say bless God in the house. If you say in the room, you say in the room, we say in the room, you know? Taiwo, you good? Gary, there's no echo, Taiwo. It's awesome. It's awesome. Taiwo, we would, yeah, Gary, yeah. So continue with Zelensky, with Zelensky Giza there, you know? I agree with you. I agree with you, totally that, Zelensky is an inspirational figure, and what I find very interesting as well, um, is that I find a lot of people wearing the same sort of, beard in London of recent days, you know, the same sort of style, and of course I can't do it because I'm not, you know, but a
What
lot of
kind
people are. Huh?
oh you mean is a Zelensky beard?
A Zelensky beard, you know, he's got a because I saw Mayor. Well, let me say,
Now.
Taiwo, Taiwo,
One
say
second.
yes or no.
No,
Okay,
no. It's feedback. No, because it gives him feedback.
okay, give me a thumbs up. You're on mute. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Yeah, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Yeah. So Gary, yeah. So I think that Zelensky, you agree. I agree totally. He's an inspirational guy, but inspiration does not save people at this point regarding what's going on. And I believe that, in a way, he could have done something even more inspiring by actually working out some strong deal to keep his people home and wheel and come again, as they were saying in Jamaica. Wheel and come again. Wheel, Bert, don't lose your shirt or you get sunburned, you know? Wheel again. And then come back around and try to save his people. Because right now, the country mash up. Russia just mash up the country. And of course, what they're talking about now is reparation. Reparation they're talking about for, the country of Ukraine. And that's a strong topic as well, having reparation. So therefore, if they can get reparation, why not black people get reparation as well? So there we go.
I no, I really believe that you see Russia's um, point now, what they're wanting, there's no hope for Zelensky to be in party or to stay where he is. Russia wants him removed.
Yes.
Russia wants him removed. So if the negotiations, and again, we don't really know what's on the negotiation table.
Mm,
We don't know. We don't know.
yeah.
But
Well, yeah. Go on. Sorry, Gary. Yeah. Mm,
sorry, but what I think needs to be done, still, is that um, I really think I don't know if Zelensky can should really step down, and I don't really believe now that it's gone too far now for him to surrender. I think that what needs to be done
mm,
really because um, NATO, believe me on this, Sylbourne, and
yes.
if this comes true, then I give you all permission to put profit in front of my name, right?
Yes.
But I really believe, still, I really believe that NATO is going to go in. I
You think
think
so?
that, yeah, I think NATO is going to go in.
Yeah.
I
Okay. Just
don't.
1 second. One second. 1 second. Taiwo.
Listen, I know what I'm doing.
Taiwo. We can hear you, Taiwo. Sorry, Taiwo. We can hear you. We can hear you. Let Taiwo. Taiwo. I can hear you. Can you hear me? No. Okay. Yes, Gary. I want to move on. Dion said something about where you get them chat from Sylbourne. I guess maybe she's talking about my wheelbird, don't lose your shirt, you know, Ochiman style. And is that what you're referring to? The where I get those chat from? We got to be relevant these days, you know. Can't just be in England and forget your roots, you know. Wheelbird, don't lose your shirt or you'll get sunburned. You don't know them thing, Gary. Do you know that?
I'm a town man, you know. Me not deal with me not deal with country. Anybody out there from town? Anybody out
um,
there from town?
um, Taiwo, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come in. I can bring you in. And another thing I just want to bring in though, and this is a very serious one, is there's a select committee of recent days, and the energy chief said if fair 40% of Britons could fall into fuel poverty in truly horrific winter. As many as 4 in 10 people in Britain could fall into fuel poverty when the price cap rises again this autumn. Energy bosses have told MPs as they have called for more government support for vulnerable houses facing a truly horrific winter. And this was Michael Lewis, the chief executive of E.ON UK, said between 30 and 40% of people in Britain might go into fuel poverty from October when the industry regulator Ofgem is again expected to put up the annual limits on the tariff. Gary, this is such a wicked thing, I must say.
It
This is
is
totally wicked.
it is absolutely terrible. It's going to
Mm.
be diabolical. I mean, even persons like you and I, my friend, um, now we
Somebody,
may
so
not.
somebody just disrespect me. I'm from town, Gary Graham, sir. Me no know where still get them countryman chat from. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah,
I I
I
got
don't
mash
know.
up your tone. Sorry, go on. Yeah,
Um, I don't know how people are going to survive. I don't know how people. We're going to have a lot of people in homes that are cold, very cold.
mm, mm.
Um, I don't know what's going to happen. I have no solution, no answer to that. I don't know. The government is going to have to try and do something. And I don't think there's any government that wants to be in. I don't think there's any government that really wants to be around when that happens. I don't think the Conservative Party wants to deal with that because
Yeah.
they can't deal with what they're dealing with now. Then how are they going to deal with it then in October? It's going to be horrible.
I mean, I'm seeing. I mean, even my house here, I'm seeing some increase, and I'm just saying, wow, you know, wow, wow. That I'm, you know, that what fortunately on my street, and one of my church members is a member of the is an energy champion, and I'm going to mention some things he sent me. I wanted him to come on the show at some point. I might have to do an interview with him, but he sent some energy saving tips, which I'll mention a bit later. Many people have to now decide how many lights they put on. Um, Instead of turning on the heating, they have to put on double socks, hot water bottle, and all. Well, fortunately, we are now in winter. We're now in the heat hot period, you know. But I think it is devastating. And what is so damning about this whole thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that I know the prime minister is the issue is going on, but the level of and intensity of interest, the intensity of how they focus on the party gate, if they had focused so much collectively in sorting out this whole issue regarding the energy tariff, I think we could have made a breakthrough already. Because the guy at the select committee said, guys, listen, 30 to 40% people are going to be hit big time, especially those with prepayment meters. And those with prepayment meters are normally persons, they would say, on the lower scale or stuff like that.
Right, right. I mean, I mentioned this probably it wasn't in the last probably it was in the last broadcast one or two times. But I have said that this government, right, they have now said that they want to that they're bringing in electric cars. Now,
Yes,
if electric cars are coming in or battery cars are coming in, right,
yes,
and they're wanting to install, um, you know, charging points all over the country and also
Mm.
at the homes, if people cannot pay their electricity bills now because
Yeah.
of the increases, how do they expect these people to go out there and buy these electric cars for 30, 40, 50,000 pounds
Yeah.
and then maintain them at home by way of charging electricity or charging the
Mm.
batteries when the electric bill is going to be so high?
Well, well,
These
mm.
people have to rethink what they're doing. They're gonna have to rethink things.
Taiwo is here, and I think he has the answer. Taiwo, what are you doing, sir?
So I'm fine, thank you. Sorry, I came on a bit late, and then I was having technical problems when I came in.
I'm sorry.
But I had
Is
to
that
re.
an electric problem or so? Have you been paying your?
Well, it was something a bit like that. But anyway, um, just tell it like so. Well, it's obviously an interesting topic. The topic of electric cars
Mm.
to aid with the problem of pollution and all of that. And I think it's no secret that if suddenly uh, everyone was to go electric right now,
Yeah.
we wouldn't really have the grid wouldn't be able to cope. We don't have sufficient electric power to, um, sort of charge. Imagine a situation where all the cars on the road were suddenly electric. Okay, so that would create an issue. Then there would also be the issue of whether the energy is renewable energy, because what's the point in burning coal or fossil fuels in order to charge an electric car? That doesn't make sense. So these are the sorts of issues that we need to consider. But the worst thing in terms of things that are, even shall we say, low hanging fruits that should be tackled, um, these are things around the government initiatives which have been scaled back. Okay. So there were government initiatives that were in place, incentives to incentivize people to purchase electric cars. These were things, for example, I remember as far back as about 4 years ago, there was a scheme whereby the government contributed some money
Mm.
towards you actually getting a charging unit, and that was rescinded. So there are all these green initiatives that have been scaled back. That it just makes it seem that how serious, COP26, how serious are we about, this talk of climate change when these initiatives are being scaled back?
Mm.
So that's my first sort of, just right off the top of my head,
Yeah.
response on this issue of,
The other bit, in regard, let me just, before I go on to the other point, just think about the energy crisis now that we're in, the level of leadership which is being given by the government at this time. The whole focus. When I say government, I'm talking about the politicians, both sides, focusing on something which is even more serious than COVID, I believe. But what's her name? Dee says, we have to go get furnace, pot, and wood to keep warm. That is what somebody said. Herbert Mosquito said, I think the lack of effective leadership have caused us to suffer in the effects. And Vonnie J says, I think that's a plan for Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, they want people out of their cars for years, and now they'll be able to do it. You know, Tyrell, let's hit on that point about the high rate of inflation regarding these energy bills and the recent select committee that said, of recent days, that 4 in 10 people could fall into fuel poverty.
well, um, it really is. In some senses, it's the same sort of scenario that we've dealt with for a long time, in the sense that it's those who are poorest,
Mm,
those who are economically disadvantaged, just getting by, living paycheck to paycheck, that suffer the most
mm,
with these sorts of rises, whether it's the effects of inflation or just due to the removal of the price cap.
yeah.
And Okay, to look at this from all sides, the government has sort of lent a bit of a helping hand by way of giving some sort of rebate or sort of handout of sorts towards those that qualify to help them with their energy bills.
Yeah.
But that really doesn't address the issue, because if
Fundamental.
you,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
if it doesn't address the fundamental issue, because the effects of these price rises and removal of the price cap are going to be here for a while. So a one-off £100 payment towards your energy bill. I mean, the question is, does that even really make up for the increase that you're experiencing this year? Which I doubt it for most people. And then there's the issue of dealing with the rise continually, and that's in the face of all the other factors. Fewer people in work, we were hearing yesterday, overall. So there's the issue of, of employment and employment stability, and all these issues that have always been there. So so um yeah, so that's basically the issue at hand here.
Yeah. I think one of the thing, Gary, is and I believe is that the best way around it is to get to triple and quadruple your income. That's one way around it. And the second way around it is what someone sent me, um, this information, and it says we are living in what is called energy stress here. Here are some energy saving tips. One, turn off unnecessary lights. All right, that's the first thing. Turn off unnecessary lights. I can do that right away. Turn off. I can dim my light right here. I mean, turn off unnecessary light. The second one is use natural light as much as possible. Yeah, manage your thermostat. Just reducing by 1 degree can save you £70 a year. £70 may look small, but it does add up. Run full loads washing machine. Fix that leak. Use energy saving LED lights. Look out for your neighbor. Show an act of kindness. Struggling to pay your energy bills? And it says the South London Community Energy. You can book a free telephone advice session, and there's a number 0808 169 1779. Right? That is what an energy champion actually sent me today to say to share that with your show. So there are things that people can actually do, and if people want to go further, you can just, like you're roasting breadfruit on the back of your yard, you can just get one coal pot or something like that and roast breadfruit on the back of your yard. Gary, not a fair.
Can I, if I may just come in on that? um the one from that long list, and it's a very good list.
Yeah.
The one thing I would recommend anyone that's concerned about their electricity bill in particular to do, that I noticed has a major impact, is the switch to low energy electric bulbs.
Mhm.
Now, let's be clear. In order for you to, I'm talking, this is a bit of personal experience I'm sharing here.
Yes.
So when I moved to where I'm staying now, what I did, there were a lot of these regular halogen bulbs. I've got all these fancy sockets in the kitchen and everywhere. And I thought, you know what? I really want to see how much I'm going to save. So
Mm.
it took a while, and I had to save. I had to switch every single light bulb to energy saving mode.
Mm.
So basically, replaced all of them with energy, and the difference was noticeable. So
Really?
it's not that some you get people that would just put the energy saving bulb in the sitting room or in the bedroom, and then everything else is are the old style bulbs. It doesn't work like that, my dear. If you're going to save energy on your electric bills, then you will have to change every single one
Is it like
of the.
this?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because I have a
Well,
question.
so you have those, and there are other styles, because of course you have, think of the bulb above your cooker, for example.
Yeah.
Those small, you got two pins and they kind of triangulate, the small. You got those ones in the energy saving version as well. So
Yes.
you have to change all your basically go for LED bulbs all over, literally all over, and then you'll notice a change. But that is only electric. For some of us that need the house to be toasty and warm all the time in winter, then what do you do? If, say, you have a gas boiler, put on jumpers, warm clothes, and all of that, but we know sometimes that still doesn't cut it, and that's the one bill that is I think going to pose a bigger challenge for a lot of people.
Gary,
um,
what's your final point on that topic there regarding the energy? What's any tips you have other than the I have it, Holy Ghost fire. Yes, that's a fire.
I mean, I don't have any tips. I mean, the only tips I can probably support is what your my colleague who has spoken so so um so well on the subject.
Mm,
The fact remains. The fact remains. Not everybody. The thing about it is that it's not everybody is going to be able to get these energy saving bulbs. It's not everybody.
mm,
And
mm.
even with the energy saving bulbs, yes, it will go down. And when I say go down, I mean the cost will, but how quickly? Because
Yeah,
the cost of electricity and gas still needs to be paid. And these people who are on low incomes anyway is still going to have a problem. And what has also been highlighted is that wages are not going up.
yeah,
So so that is defeating the well, that's defeating the whole essence really, because if wages are not being increased, but yet people are still expected to pay their bills, doesn't matter how much um the energy saving tips
yeah,
help. If wages are not going up, they will not be able to meet the demands that come through the letterbox, and
yeah.
that is my concern greatly. That's my concern, and
Do
and
you?
something has to be
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Do every time there's a war, the government finds money to fight a war. Right now with Ukraine, they find money to support. They're paying people money to support Ukrainians coming to UK. I think the government should actually do something in regards to this. Don't you think? I mean, it is totally impossible for it to continue like this. Martin Lewis is saying something like there's going to be a riot.
Well, something is going to give.
Mm,
Something must give. Um, the country, ladies and gentlemen, those who are on the ether, those who are on various platforms listening to the Sylbourne CDL TV show. Let me say this to you right now, that the government knew exactly what they were doing when they allowed furlough scheme to be authorized. They knew that they would do this, but they also knew that they would be clawing it back.
right.
And we are the ones that are having to bear the consequence, to bear
Of
the
course.
weight, to bear the demands. The government wants their money back, even though it's our money, but they're saying they want the money back. And this is what they're doing to us. So whether it was conservative, or whether it was Labour, or
Mm,
whether it was Liberal Democrat and Labour, or Liberal Democrat and Conservative as a two party government leadership bid. Let me tell you something. This government will be asking back for their furlough money,
mm,
and that's what they're doing, my friends. That's what they're doing. Nothing comes for
yeah,
free.
yeah. Um,
Nothing's free.
uh, uh,
Vonnie J said they are deliberately creating crisis after crisis, COVID, energy issues, climate change, food crisis, which will ultimately lead to one thing: a one world government. And Herbert said you have to be able to have the means, as someone said earlier, to purchase the bulbs before they can even be installed. So
Exactly.
it's a catch
Exactly.
22
yeah,
situation
yes,
right there.
yes, that's true. That's true. It was not a cheap project. I mean, I'm talking
Yeah,
about, for a small house. it cost me, it was hundreds of pounds. It was
Yeah.
hundreds of pounds by the time I was done. But first of all, let's dispel any conspiracy theories about one government. I don't think this is sort of the sort of thing you want to talk about on here. But in terms of the I know you have people that listen to your show and follow you. There is one thing that could quite possibly be done in this that I don't hear spoken about very much.
Yeah.
Okay, um, and this is not to do with the price cap necessarily. Okay, because the price cap or raising it is or removing it is just one part of the equation, right?
Yes.
So what would have happened if the price cap wasn't removed? What would happen is, well, what quite possibly could have happened is that the profits would have been squeezed of the utility firms, okay,
Yeah.
and they have a profit target, okay, which is got to be approved by the regulator. All
Mhm.
right, so I think they probably, I'm not sure, but it's not hard to speculate that probably what happened is that they lobbied because of the increase in price of supply. The profits were then being squeezed, okay,
Mhm.
because they have a limited target, and then that was the basis on which they lobbied to have the price cap removed.
Yes.
But so that argument puts the onus back on the utility firms. I mean, yes, they're private sector companies, they're in business for profit to make money, otherwise they'll be
Mhm.
bust. But can't they take as entities of that size, can't they for a year or two take a smaller profit target? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, they can't because they wouldn't have lobbied the government, which led to the removal of the price cap. But that really is kind of what's going on behind the scenes that the common man doesn't see. I mean, I don't have any evidence of this, but it's just, I think, logical economics. If you kind of know what the main factors are there.
Yeah. Well, some would say nationalization is the way forward.
Well,
I'm just. That's another. Well, we're gonna have to wrap
that
up.
that brings its own problems. Let's not.
Yeah. 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 Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, still let us just the Queen birthday was today, so
Oh yes.
wish
Happy
her
birthday, Your Majesty.
happy
Yeah,
birthday to Her Majesty.
happy birthday, your Majesty.
You know, so she so that was what are you guys getting? Are you guys gonna have any what should I say? Any big street bashment?
Not on my street. Not
On
on
my
my street.
The Queen celebrate. They said they're gonna. We normally have a street party on my street, which started initially, and our church is planning to have a street a street thing as well, but for the community, just capitalizing on all of this, But but guys, listen, there's so much more topics I could have touched on because there are a couple serious cases of DNA which has broken through solving crimes. That little child that got killed as well. Marie Le Pen possibility could be the next French president. You guys think that is possible?
no.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay. Yeah, so there it goes, you know what I mean? But it's giving what's his name a hard run for his money at the same time, but it's not looking possible. And let me hear what Herbert says in closing. The point is the government is promoting healthy eating. Well, you can't afford the food, so we have to eat what you can afford. That's another bit again. Thieving. Can't afford the food. You know what I mean? You know. So Gary and Taiwo, listen, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night again on Talk and Sip. Look forward to see you. And also, let me just share. I just remembered I need to share this that this Sunday night I'll be having Delano Franklin, statesman, author, and attorney at law. Delano Franklin was the Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs when the Diaspora Conference was created. And Lazy with the Diaspora, we're going to talk about different things, talking about politics. We're going to talk about Jamaica being a republic and talk about the whole Commonwealth and generally, and his book as well. So tune in this Sunday night, and that's going to be at 9 p.m. British Standard Time, 3 p.m. Jamaica time. I think that maybe is 4 p.m. EST time, Eastern Standard Time, with a live on YouTube here with Delana Franklin, statesman, author, and attorney at law, straight out of Jamaica. We'll be having this interview discussing poignant issues regarding Jamaica. And actually, you used to lecture me at one point at UA, so that's great. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Taiwo. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe. Any last word, guys, before you go?
Yeah, just want to say that I'm hoping to meet with you guys on Saturday. I'm just wondering if Rita, is it V
Vita.
and her gang, Rita and her gang. I'm disappointed. I want.
Well, Taiwo was there Saturday night.
Well, no, but he wasn't there the Saturday night that I was on, and then I had to leave, and all the hell break loose on your show there. So I have to come and ask Rita what happened.
Taiwo, what was your experience Saturday night? Oh, sorry. My apologies, Taiwo. There was a feedback, and I muted you. Go on, Taiwo.
It was good. It was good. It was my first time on Saturday, and I enjoyed it.
And you saw after a while the alcohol took over some people. You noticed that?
Oh yes. You know, it's a sort of informal setting. You know, serious issues in an informal setting. So that's okay. It's Saturday. So.
Yes.
Well,
And that is interesting as well, because we're touching on the Rwanda thing, and I'm supposed to be getting a Rwandan to talk about that issue as well. Yeah, Gary, you're saying?
yeah, we can't allow things to get loose. I don't mind the happiness and everything like that. But Vita, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed.
Well, you have to deal with crown. You got to deal with the crown on that, Gary. You got to deal with the crown on that one. The crown on that one. All right, guys. Well, listen.
And my friend had to pronounce benediction in my absence. So I think
How Jody had to pronounce benediction. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Those on Instagram, those on Facebook, and those on Twitter as well. Do share your views, and remember that this is a number if you want to get more information on the Southeast London Community Energy, 0808 169 1779. Remember to like and subscribe to the Sylbourne Show as well, and make sure you tune in as well next Thursday night. Have a good night, and God bless you. Peace out. Boom.